Security deposits are a scam, man. They're just like birds. They're not real.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, the new Pope. I don't think we need new popes, but we did.
I'm pretty sure
we did get a new Pope.
I'm pretty sure it's the same as the one before this week.
The new Pope, the old Pope.
I don't know. I don't subscribe to like Pope Monthly, but
You don't subscribe to Pope. Pope Monthly is an incredible idea.
I didn't see any black smoke. I don't think we have a new pope. Did I tell you that when I was a kid, I thought that the black smoke from that, like them announcing there was a new pope or whatever, was because it was like just from them cremating the pope or something, and that's what the smoke was.
It's not?
It's not, apparently. Be careful who you ask that question to.
Ben, how was your watch?
terrible. Next question.
Chris, how was your watch?
It was fine. It was fine. Next question. Jay, how was your watch?
Jay, how was your?
Short. Next question.
So it was good.
Sure. Tell me your
It's
secrets.
a big compliment, yeah. I mean, it's A New Hope. It's the shortest by definition.
Yeah, but it still feels so long.
I mean, yeah. My secret this week is I technically watched A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back in the same day, and that's my secret as to why it felt
Oh
short.
God.
Because the other one felt long. We're behind a little bit on recording. We're keeping the same schedule, but it's been difficult to keep a recording schedule lately.
We're fine.
So-
We're good. We're not behind at all.
As Ben said in the Discord earlier, we're falling apart.
I meant like the mental stability of the three of us.
Yes, that's also what I meant.
Yeah, what else
do
is
you think?
new?
I mean, physically, yes, I am also falling apart, but
Yeah, physically. I have been falling apart physically for a very long time.
honestly, Ben, how does it feel to be the most able-bodied person, both physically and mentally, on this podcast?
Yes.
Physically, okay, I guess. Mentally, I'm not sold on that one yet.
I'm pretty sold
I'm not as bad as Jay thinks I am,
But I
that's
do
not
work.
a lot.
on it. Ben,
I do work.
Ben, I got denied by 3 therapists this week. What are you talking about? I think you're doing the best here. I think you're doing just fine. Ben.
I have not had the same therapist for an appointment in my monthly appointments for the majority of the pandemic. I have had 4 sessions with the same therapist that quit on me twice, and all of them have been different therapists otherwise.
I've been to a therapist since I was 7, and I desperately need to find one.
Isn't that awful?
You
What's
should.
it like having a substitute therapist?
It's
What's
weird
that like?
because you assume that they'll be. It's not really substitute. It's this is your therapist. I'm like, is it a new therapist? They're like, yeah, this is your new therapist. It's like, okay. So you go in and you have a talk, and you either dislike them or like them based on that talk, and you're like, I hope they're there next month, or they'll probably.
Well,
not be
don't
there
you have
next
to
month, I don't like
don't
them.
you have to go through the introductions every time? Like, I'm so and so. This is what's wrong with me.
No, because they have that on
Yeah,
file.
but I feel like just reading it off a file is probably not.
See, here's the thing with state therapy. It's called counselorship, and it's way worse. I have a counselor that serves as a therapist, but they also serve as a paperwork clerk. So you have a long conversation, and that's the session for therapy every 3 months. So that happens every month when you end up switching
Oh my God.
between. So I haven't had a good therapy appointment in a very long time.
All you had to say was the state was running it, and I would have been like, yeah, that's
Right.
that's gonna be rough.
Yeah. It's a coupled relationship with my psychiatrist. I must have both. And since I want to have good mental health, I go every month. And it has not helped my mental health in a while.
I found out the place I'm going to is actually fairly cheap for therapy appointments. It's like $75 per session. So I'm like, fuck.
Ooh, that's really
Fuck,
good.
I might go weekly. Get this shit all cleaned up in here.
That's really
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna start looking into options once I finally get onto my company health insurance plan.
How long has it been?
Like a couple months, because I was lazy.
Oh, okay.
Wait, since I've had insurance or since I've had
Yes.
therapy?
Insurance.
Oh, it's been a couple months because I was supposed to do it.
I was gonna
I
say.
was supposed to do it on my like before my 26th birthday, but I never did. So it's like
Oh.
totally on me.
Ben, how old
Oh
are you?
yeah, you
I
hit
feel
that
like
25.
I have to hit. I feel like I have to ask you every 6 months or so. How old are you?
26.
Oh yeah, shit, you are. Oh yeah, you're the same age as Danny. I always forget.
Yeah, I like just got ejected from my mom's health
No, you're
insurance.
not.
So
My wife's 27.
Yeah, you hit that 25.
I was gonna say Danny's got to be at least like
No,
a year
Danny's
older
20.
than
She
me.
just turned 27. I'm making our relationship way weirder. I'm like, wait, how old am I? No, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
That can't be weirder than
Well,
my manager. Whenever he's telling me a story about me and his significant other, he'll be like, "Yeah, and we've been together for," and I'll be like, 26 years. And every time he's like, "Ben, how do you know that?" I'm like, "Because you always tell me the year of your anniversary, and it's the same year I was born."
I mean, it was on a recently released episode that we learned that I can find out Danny and Chris's anniversary quicker than Chris can.
Because again, it was the year before COVID, and then everything just got real fucked up for everything.
Maybe we should do like a check-in because we haven't done a proper check-in in a long time, but also a check-in after we've been back at it for a while. Because we took a break, and the break made us miss each other, but I think it's made the process harder.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
So it's not just me that has a million times more difficulty paying any attention to these movies when they're on now, right? Like,
I don't know, because I didn't pay attention to the movie, but I did line for line verbatim go through the movie at work in front of my coworker, who was both impressed and terrified.
I mean, one day we just need to do a contest on how many Star Wars lines we can remember for like a full episode and see who.
I don't know.
See who chickens out first, because I think we could do a full episode of that.
I'm good. We telegraph enough how much fucking time we waste in a vegetative state in front of these movies.
Ben, the podcast is about how much time we vegetate in front of these movies.
I know.
Why not?
I don't.
Why not contentify all of it?
Because I don't want that to be so painfully in my own face. I need to maintain some level of active disassociation.
Now, see, it's painfully in my face every time I get the push notification on Wednesdays that a new episode has come out.
It's painfully in my face every time that I have to find the time in a week to edit. I don't.
Well, that's that really is it though, Jay. Like it's not the process of watching the movies isn't hard. It's for me at least the hardest part is finding the time to record these days.
Yeah. I mean, you have a small chitlin at home, which makes it increasingly hard.
Especially like this week. Fucking this week was a long week. I'm up at like I'm always up at like 5 a.m. But I'm working longer days than normal. In earlier, and I'm tired. I'm drinking a Monster energy drink. I'm drinking a Monster energy drink, audience, at 7:30 at night.
When was the last time you drank Monster before today?
2 months ago at this exact time because it was also an inventory week.
Because I haven't drank a Monster since I was like 22.
These new juice ones are delicious.
I said to my sister after you said about Monster should be more illegal than most drugs that are currently illegal.
Yeah.
Ben, how are you doing on coffee? Are you off the coffee?
I'm off coffee. I was on coffee for about a week.
You've lost the bean.
It was terrible.
How was the first day without coffee?
Fine.
I'm fairly certain that was my exact reaction, Ben, when Jay asked me, "Hey, how was your first day of not smoking a cigarette?" Fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it was only like 4 days of drinking one coffee.
Dude, I quit smoking when I was 24. I'm 32 now. I still get cravings, and sometimes I dream that I'm smoking and wake up needing a cigarette very badly. But I believe it's the habit that more than anything else. I feel like sometimes you'll sit there and you'll be like, I need to be doing something else with my hands.
But to be fair, I personally gauge my anxiety levels over whether my brain is for some reason craving a cigarette or not, even though I've never smoked a day in my life.
What?
I'll just go, because it's when I get highly anxious, my brain seeks out self-destructive behaviors.
Okay.
And smoking is the most accessible self-destructive behavior to me.
I'm fascinated.
Because I could
by
just
this.
roll into a gas station, get a pack of cigarettes.
Now, Ben, bear with me here because this is me with no diagnosis and coming off of having not been to therapy for 10 years. But, Ben, I think as somebody who also has it, I think you might be the most high-functioning person with borderline personality disorder that I've ever known. All of the tendencies, none of the destructive actions.
The amount of self-control that you have, I know you joke about not having self-control, but you have a significant amount of self-control.
That is, like, truly, like, we talk about it on the podcast all the time. We're basically fucking wrestling personas on this podcast. It's us, Ben is truly one of the most responsible people for his age that I've ever fucking known.
Yeah.
And it's been that way the whole time I've known him, like...
All it took for me to break the promise that I would never smoke a cigarette was for someone to ask me to hold their cigarette for 10 seconds so that they could wash their hands, and that was it for me. It was like, I have a cigarette in my hand, might as well try it. That was it.
I need to bring down the mood for a second because I can't sit here and let you guys say I'm the most responsible person.
I gotta bring the mood down. I was chain smoking cigarettes outside in the alley before this podcast.
I can't sit here with you guys saying like Ben's like one of the most responsible people I know. When for 2 months I
didn't say responsible because I would not say that.
Responsible. And for
I said
2
you've
months
been
I didn't realize I
consistently-
was driving with an expired license.
Don't say that on
we've
the
all
podcast.
been there.
I
Who
gotta
among
know
us?
Is a
Who
cop gonna
among us?
listen to this and come track me down?
Who among us didn't drive around with an expired license for way too long?
Chris, didn't you lose your license because of that?
What's it to you? Are you a cop? There's 2 cops in Lincoln, Nebraska. Neither of them listen. I don't know. So, Jay, how are you doing? We asked Ben how he's doing. How are you doing?
Bad. I
do love that this is a good glimpse into our collective friend group. That I said, Jay, how are you doing? You go bad, and Ben and I immediately start laughing.
I got the taste of freedom for 3 weeks, and it has ruined me. So I'm the editor for the show, obviously. And I used to love that process. I don't necessarily love it as much as I used to. And I think the editing process is the biggest downer of this show now. I think that affects me more than watching the movie or sitting down to record. Sitting down to record was never a problem. Scheduling sometimes is a problem. But the time sink of putting, 4 to 8 hours into the show every week, that's not great, and I miss not having to do that weekly. And it doesn't help that I'm a little bit behind. I had a lot of appointments one week, I got sick the next week, I have been lazy to an extent, where I'll sit down and do 15 minutes and say, that's good enough. But that is where I am at, currently. It's a lot, currently. And it's mostly because there's a lot of back things going on in my life right now. So the process of the podcast is catching up to me because we took the break, and I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about that for a while. So that's where I'm
okay.
at.
Because most
That's
most of this podcast does end up resting on your shoulders specifically.
I mean, I created this hellhole. The weight of it should be on my shoulders.
No, look. This is a stupid show that we do. This is a really stupid fucking thing that we do here. And, like, watching the movies sucks at this point. Finding time to schedule recording fucking sucks. But I have Look, there's a lot of things that I want to do in my life that I have tried to do for many years. I have never successfully worked on a project this fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
So, like,
1000%.
there's a certain pride in that, no matter how stupid the thing.
Yes.
And look, honestly, that's just entertainment. You work on something stupid for a long time, and you do it with a lot of passion, and, you know, it works out. That's how, you know, whatever your definition of works out is, you know, I get to hang out with two of my best friends once a week and talk about anything but Star Wars as desperately as possible.
Well, that's the one that I think drives me nuts, is I do have to be the grounded person that reminds us. Yeah, I do.
Don't.
Like, legally, like, according to the promise that we made the internet, I do have to be the one that's like, we have to talk about
Who cares?
Star
The
Wars
internet's a dick.
Yeah. There's nothing I adore more than sitting down to record this podcast. Finding time can be difficult. I think we all agree on that. Watching is difficult. Editing is difficult. But I've never done anything as thoroughly as I have done this podcast. And I'm still kind of the powerhouse that's kind of like, okay, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And I do that because all I have to do is come into this office and look at Give Up, and I'm immediately reminded as to why I do this show. That and spending time with both of you. So it's not like... I am very, very proud of this stupid show. It's still a kind of a pain in the ass sometimes, by design. I sometimes wonder what other podcasts we could be doing if we weren't doing this. And then I remember that if it wasn't for the Give Up, we wouldn't be doing a podcast at all.
I mean, look, and that's, honestly, what would help with the fucking us not talk about Star Wars thing is figuring out either monthly or every couple months or just literally whenever, just doing a podcast where it's just whatever that's not Star Wars.
Yeah, but I know we were 12 behind on that, too.
Well, that's the point. You don't schedule it. You just say, here's the show we do sometimes. And then when one shows up, it's like, hey, cool. And then when one doesn't show up for 6 months, it's fine.
Show me that AO3. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Show Me That AO3. It's a bit that we do every once in a while where we do the, unfortunately now on hiatus,
AO3 tags?
we take from... AO3 tags is on hiatus at SWAO3 tags on Twitter, that did the job of collecting some tags from Archive of Our Own, the number one fan fiction website on the planet. I was about to say, but I don't know in different languages what that would look like. But on the internet.
Well, if it's on the internet, it's probably the largest on the planet.
Well, I don't know. China might have a more popular fan fiction website, and that's very possible because they have their own internet.
Than the rest of the world?
Anyway, it's pretty much. It's connected but not connected. They
no,
have
I know,
very
but
strict
more
laws
popular than the rest of the world?
There's a lot of people in China.
There's a lot of people in the rest of the world, Jay.
True.
I got real distracted for a second. Why are we talking about China?
I don't know. Anyway, Archive of Our Own has a system, if you don't know, where you can put tags, just like random things in the tags for the piece that you're writing. And at SWAO3 tags on Twitter used to put together some of the most random that they find on Star Wars tags. I might have to take over that job now, so it might be even more occasional than we did it 2.5 rotations ago last. The mantle has passed on to me, apparently. But these are some of the last of at SWAO3 tags inclusions. Are you ready
I'm
to
gonna
play?
cry myself to sleep tonight now.
It's just a hiatus. Maybe they'll be back. They started it in the pandemic, and they are having a hard time finding time to do it. We can all feel that. So the way this works is that I'm going to read 5 tags. One of them is fake, and 4 of them are real. Are you ready to play?
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 1, loss of emotional virginity. Number 2, there's a lot of really batshit happenings in the background here, but mostly it's about pancakes. Number 3, the return of Maestro Hux and his piano brat. I love him, you love him, we all love him, and that's how he gets away with it. Number 4, Obi-Wan has a redacted dick. Redacted does not mean big, we all know it's big, but it has other qualities too. Number 5, Count Dooku's nip and tuck. One of these is fake, and the rest are real.
Young lady, we are at the dinner table right. Well, I am at the dinner table right now.
Listen, it's not my fault you decided to eat on the podcast. That's your fault. That's on
One
you.
of the few times I'm sad we don't do video because I would be curious to know what my face just looked like. Because I feel like I just reacted like I got slapped to that last one. Oh.
It did look like that.
Why did that one invoke such a reaction?
I don't know. I just had my body had a very visceral reaction to that last one.
One of these is fake, and 4 of them are real. Would you like to hear them again?
Yes.
Number 1, loss of emotional virginity. Number 2, there's a lot of really batshit happenings in the background here, but mostly it's about pancakes. Number 3, the return of Maestro Hux and his piano brat. I love him, you love him, we all love him, and that's how he gets away with it. Number 4, Obi-Wan has a redacted dick. Redacted does not mean big, we all know it's big, but it has other qualities too. Number 5, Count Dooku's nip and tuck.
There are a lot of these I feel like could be from you.
I lied. It's 5.
You think it's 5?
I want to say the Hux one or the Obi-Wan's dick one.
Okay.
What was the first one?
Loss of emotional virginity, which, real or fake, might be my favorite of these 5, to be honest, because you know who it's written about. There's only 2 people it could be written about.
It's either Hux or it's Obi-Wan's dick, and I don't know which one.
You can only choose one.
I'm gonna go with the Hux one.
You're gonna go with the Hux one. Ben, what do you think?
Number 5, Dooku.
Okay. Well, Ben, unfortunately, as it turns out, you are entirely correct. I made up Count Dooku's nip and tuck.
It is very unfortunate.
What the fuck?
It is very unfortunate. Those are words that I said. I had to Google nip and tuck to make sure it meant what I thought it meant before I wrote that down. It really was the words nip and tuck came to my head, and then Count Dooku was the first character I thought about, and then I Googled it to make sure it meant what I thought it meant. It means what I thought it meant. But that was at SWAO3 tags on Twitter. If you follow them, maybe they'll be back, maybe they won't, but we thank them for their service all of these years for giving us content.
Did AO3 tag shut down?
They are on hiatus.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, because they started it in the pandemic and don't have time for it anymore. They may be back, they may not be back. I think we can all... we all know the pain of starting something in the pandemic and not having the time for it.
Yep. Some of us start much busier jobs halfway through a podcast.
Oh my god, speaking of work, my fucking coworker today, I was bitching about Star Wars. Oh yeah, because work was going super slow today. So he was like, "Oh, we still have like 2.5 hours of work." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's like almost a Star Wars movie and a half." Because I measure time in Star Wars movies now.
Oh,
That's
no.
like a Star Wars movie.
Well, yeah, but
That's the length of Last Jedi.
Yeah, but like episode 4.
He means a real Star
Yeah.
Wars movie.
The aggressiveness of Chris. Anyway, what you're saying, Ben?
And he's like, yeah, but like, it's not like how long my favorite one is, episode 2.
My
And I
man.
stared at him.
Well, I mean, I had that phase when I was 8.
And he was like, yeah, the arena at the end is like great. He's like, that's all I remember about that movie.
Yeah.
And I
High
looked
art.
at him dead in the eye and I was like, you're gonna give me some content.
It is high art. Hey, coworker, if you're listening, high art. I feel you.
Coworker is
I-
not listening.
My dude.
I went through a phase as a teenager where I said Attack of the Clones was my favorite, but it was because I wanted to feel less bad about falling asleep during the movie, watching it the first time. I do not feel less bad.
Honestly, any movie that I would miss at this point because of a nap would be my favorite movie.
Yeah, but then you'd have to rewatch it. Because you
No, you wouldn't.
technically didn't. Dude, there have been so many times where I've wanted to put on the movie and pretend I watched it just to say it was on there and then went to sleep at night, and I've never done it. I've never half-assed the podcast.
Yo, I'm fucking reading this as I got distracted for a moment because I was trying to suss out how much of this is bullshit. Did you see that like our government has basically admitted they just shot down a UFO?
Oh, that's been a thing going on for a bit.
Well, but it's coming out and like they said it was a long metallic cylindrical object that seemingly had no method of propulsion. And seemingly
Oh, I thought you
was
were
not...
talking about the fucking China thing.
No, this was today over Alaska. And they literally
U.S.
size of a
shoots
car.
down car-sized unidentified flying object above Alaska.
Yeah, they said it was cylindrical and metallic and had like a strange propulsion and it was hovering.
They got pictures of this thing? Of course they don't. Yeah, it was probably a weather balloon again.
I mean, probably, but the fact that they said like cylindrical, metallic, silver gray, seemed to be floating, all that.
We're just at the point where they're like, you know what? This isn't even the craziest thing to happen in the past couple of years. We don't need to cover it up this
Why
time.
is it that the first 2 months of every year are the wildest 2 months of the year? Always.
The Earth is just trying to one-up itself.
Like, fucking Christ. I did not have UFOs being confirmed by the US government on my 2023 bingo board.
God.
It's gonna be a wild fucking year, Jesus Christ.
Alright, what's all this about a UFO being shot down?
Yeah, the US shot
government
down a UFO over Alaska.
that they described as cylindrical and metallic and floating with no propulsion system.
And car-sized.
Car-sized.
Wow. What do we do with that?
This is why I zoned out a couple minutes ago, because that came across my eyes.
So...
And I'm sitting here grappling with the fact that now we have UFOs and we're in February.
Well, I mean,
So,
it could
no-
be anything. They're describing it very vaguely.
So, I need to watch the video and read these articles, and I will say, SWEWF is not a good source of news, especially considering the time,
6
space,
weeks in
and
the past.
how dumb of human beings we generally are. But I will segue with this and say, so, if this is true, and a UFO is collecting information on the planet, and they found this podcast, what the fuck would they think of this?
Well, I highly doubt it's an actual extraterrestrial object.
Well, I also doubt it, but
Hey,
just
let me
have space with me.
Let me have my Rogan moment where I'm just getting high as fuck in front of a microphone and talking about UFOs, alright?
Play with me in this space. Just play. Just like join me and put aside all, yeah, this is probably bullshit, and play with me in the space. Make a Lego house out of this scenario. So there's aliens on the planet, right? And they're collecting the most random things they can find on the internet. in order to judge the human race. And they found this podcast somehow. What the fuck do they think of us? What do they think of the human race as a whole when they find this?
Well, see, not understanding that Star Wars is a work of fiction, they find these three strange humans who are talking about their fabled tales of legend that are completely real, and they think that we're prophets of some sort, and then they abduct us.
They think
And
we're into some really sick
yeah,
sports.
we find ourselves part of Star Wars because George Lucas is actually an alien.
Now, that assumes that they would think that we are intelligent creatures, and we're not. I assume that they would think we were far dumber than them upon contact, considering all things about the human race.
Well, yeah, because I doubt very much they understand humor, and that's the only way I navigate social situations now. So I'd be pretty fucked. I'm not the emissary you want to the aliens. Me and my Wu-Tang
Yeah, this episode's
shirt.
gonna be called "I'm Not the Emissary You Want."
Like, if I got beamed up right now, we're in trouble. I got my ears and my Wu-Tang shirt on, and they're gonna beam me up, and I'm just like, what? What do you want from me? How can I help you here?
And if they only had this podcast to go on, like a lot of it would be okay. What's all this pod racing I'm hearing so much about?
Okay.
I hate your guts.
Alright.
I loathe. I
You
brought
dragged
in-
me into this bit, Jay, and I'm gonna make you regret
brought,
it.
I brought you in to build Legos with me, and you just took your arm and knocked it down.
You just
Nah.
kicked
You're a son
over
of
a
a
tower.
bitch.
Nah, I was just building my own thing.
No, you were not building your own thing.
Yeah.
You directly
build a
directly
pod
hurt
race.
the thing I was building. I brought you in to build a structure beside me, and you crumbled it.
That just sounds like when we used to play Minecraft together.
No, when we used to play Minecraft together, it would be, Chris, why are you in my house again? Because I'm lost. Chris would escape my house. I would turn around for half a second. Guys, I need help. I'm lost. Where did you go? I don't know. I fell in a hole. Could someone find
I
me?
fell in a hole. And then I would go look for him, and then he would find his way out, and I would be the lost one.
There was that one night where I was like, hey guys, I found daylight, and I just heard screaming, and I saw it pop up that both of you had just died in the caverns. Good times.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What about him?
Obi-Wan Kenobi has the same energy in this movie. I don't know if y'all have had this experience, but I have. Have you ever befriended a man in his 80s and gone to a bar with him?
Not
Ben
80s,
has
but
not
yes.
had this experience. There's a certain I don't give a shit attitude when you find the right 80-year-old and go to a bar with them, where they don't give a fuck. They talk to people however they want. They excuse it. I mean, they're not mean, but they excuse it as, listen, I'm 86 years old and I really don't have the time for social graces anymore. And they drink non-alcoholic beer, watch drunks, talk shit, and flirt with ladies that are about a fourth their age.
Jesus.
That is what Obi-Wan Kenobi is to me in this movie.
Don't put Obi-Wan in that light.
Listen, I
For
never said
me.
they go home with them. I said they flirt with them.
It's still gross. It's still gross.
You're right. It's still gross. But listen, this is the vibe that I get of Obi-Wan going to a bar. He does not give a fuck anymore.
This is just Jay's very roundabout Space Cheers proposal again.
This is Jay trying to pitch Space Cheers after many rotations of being suspiciously quiet.
I gave up. No, I gave up on Space Cheers because it hurts me even more now. Chris's background is consistently the cantina, and I think of what could be. And I also look at the one alien with the really big butt, which is a thing that is in that background. One of them has a pretty preposterous buttocks. But no, it's not so much the weird part of flirting with people half their age. That's not it. It's the Obi-Wan Kenobi could not be fucking bothered with social graces in any situation. He is a 60-year-old man with the mindset of a 90-year-old man.
I mean, like, I empathize with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I feel
saying.
that.
I called a judge dude the one time. Like, I don't give a fuck sometimes.
I
That
also
sounds
once
less
called
like.
a judge, "Hey man."
That sounds less like. I also did the hey man. I love that. This is just us telling stories about how the three of us have all been in front of judges.
Well, I was there for a jury
Well,
summons,
Yeah.
and it was weird. They had us like raise our hands for things we like. Like they were like, "Oh, if anyone like would not trust the testimony of an officer of the law, raise your hand." So I fucking put my hand up. And later they take you into the goddamn principal's office, and they're like, "So, sir, would you like to explain yourself?" And I was like, "Well, statistically," and the judge didn't want to hear that,
Yeah.
and he was like, "But like, obviously they have to word the questions very specifically."
Yeah.
And I didn't exactly understand what he was asking me, so I was like, "Dude, could you repeat that?" And he looked at me, and he rephrased it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know. Well, like statistically, cops lie under oath. If anyone was curious, statistically, cops lie under oath."
That is a fact.
And he did not like that answer, and I was dismissed very quickly.
I got a jury summons last year, and I told my boss about it. Oh no, this would have been 2 years ago at this point. Yeah, and he was like, "All right, so what days do you need off?" I was like, "No, don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of it." I was like, they won't take me. I guarantee it. And then no, I called and they didn't need me, and I was a little sad that I didn't get to go down there and raise my hand at that question. And then when I get called in the principal's office, like, "I see you right, yeah, man, ACAB. What do you mean? Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, mine was definitely also from a jury summons. Definitely.
I mean, the time I've been in front of a judge in actuality was not for a jury summons. No.
In middle school, I went to a different school, and it was a nightmare. Essentially, I had a fellow student break my foot by closing a van door on it.
Hmm.
And everyone in my life encouraged me to go to court over it. And essentially, I got to court, and I was just like, "Look, man, I don't want to get this kid in trouble." I said that to the judge, and the judge was not particularly happy with me, but because I was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't, it's fine. Can I get an apology? And the guy was like, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And that was the story of when I went, like, my man.
My dude.
My man, like, that's how I went. That's how I said that to a judge.
I got tagged coming back from upstate New York, going 90, like 95 in a 65. And I blew past the little cop hidey hole. I saw him pull out. I immediately pulled to the right lane, pulled to the shoulder. He came up behind me, walked up to the window, and I was like, "Hey, you got me." Which made him laugh really fucking hard. And I got the most expensive ticket of my life.
Oh my god! Nah, this is why I would never be a cop. Let me preface this, but like,
You got the mustache for it.
if you could make me okay, I gotta shave it. I gotta get rid of it. You talked me into it, Chris. Like, if I ever pulled someone over and they made me laugh, I'd be like, "You're good, dude. Just go."
The level of white privilege in this Skype call right now
It's
is
true.
very high.
Yep. You know, it is wow. I mean, the definition of white privilege might be being able to do finger guns at a cop and then make the cop laugh and make it out of that situation alive.
I got pulled over. I'm convinced that there was one time I got pulled over that I'm lucky I'm alive. I was in the passenger seat of a car right after I got the pacemaker defibrillator put in. I have a pacemaker defibrillator. My health is not good. Or it is very good compared to what it was. Anyway, I was just fresh from the surgery, and we went to go see whatever Marvel or DC movie came out in 2014. And I was high as fuck on pain pills. Because I was legally allowed pain pills at the time. And we got pulled over. But the cops asked us to pull over in a really awkward area. It was like a 4-lane area, and they wanted us to pull over to the middle, but there wasn't enough room to pull over to the middle of the street. And it's like, what the fuck do you want from us? So it took us a little bit to pull over. And one cop was on one side, pulled the driver out to the back, and the other cop was sitting there. It's just like, your eyes look glazed over. I'm like, I know. And I go to put my hand on my chest, and I see the hand go down to the gun. I'm like, no, see, can I show you why I look high? It's my chest. I have a pacemaker defibrillator just put in. It's just like, okay, show me. And I showed the wrap. I'm pretty sure if I wasn't white, I would have died there. And it doesn't help that my not white friend was in the back, and the cop was grilling them, asking for weed in the vehicle, and just like, hey, listen, I just want to borrow some weed off you.
Were you passing through my hometown if the cop asked you that question? That sounds like...
That was a stay. They were looking. It was the end of the month. It was one of those things.
Gotta reach the quota.
But because I had the large wrapping around that area of my chest, it was like, okay, let them go.
May or may not have one time in my hometown heard a group of teens say as a cop walked up, like, oh shit, it's a cop, and the other guy go, nah man, that's just Reggie, he just wants a dime. And
Can I just ask, and I mean this wholeheartedly, what the fuck has happened tonight? This is
What do you mean?
This is the weirdest episode we've ever recorded.
Just a bunch of pals.
Hey, we just found out UFOs might, like, fully be confirmed, so, you know, it's a weird night.
Let's not, again, SWEWF is not a news source. Please do not.
I said
no,
May.
but the Associated Press is.
How funny is this?
Let's not.
Comes out 6 weeks from now, and there's just aliens everywhere.
The alien invasion has begun, and honestly, I think we'd be better off with Roll Under Aliens at this point.
Honestly.
What the fuck are we gonna do if they all look like Jar Jar Binks and we spend all this time saying, Jar Jar Binks looks unrealistic?
Oh, hey, that's what I got the body pillow for.
Yeah, you're kind of set, buddy. You're kind of set.
They're be like, hey, guys, our buddy was passing through here, like, around 40... 48, 47. You seen him?
You're set to have an alien sugar daddy pretty much immediately.
Alien's gonna be passing through. Like, hey, we had a guy pass by, like, this continent specifically a few years back.
Oh my god. What is this show?
The tag says it's a Star Wars show, but the contents... I don't think that's the case. We talked a lot about our various brushes with the law tonight.
If we were talking about our brushes with the law, my white privilege would be laid so fucking bare.
Yes.
I got pulled over with an expired license once, and the cop was just like, yeah, get this taken care of. Don't go that fast ever again. Like, I could have gotten so fucked.
I got ripped out of a car at 2 a.m. at one point, and the cop was like, the roads are icy. Why are you driving? Well, I'm trying to bring my friend home, and then I got searched and patted down, and I got a ticket because I was driving when the roads were icy.
Well, I once had the cops called on us because we were in the park past midnight, or past dark. And they pulled up to me and a friend having an argument, and they served as the mediator. I'm pretty sure they would not have served as the mediator if they pulled up to a non-white group of friends arguing very loudly.
Ever tell you about the time I watched as I was on a school bus and we were passing a side street in my hometown, a cop car gets stolen by the person they were chasing? And all of the teenagers on the bus pulled the windows down and peered out the window as this person drove off in the cop car.
Oh my god, I wish I went to your school.
I mean, look, it was one of the bright spots in between the stabbings and the... Look, I live in a currently where if people get pulled over for DUIs, it's usually like, God, Craig, do I gotta call your wife? It's a big city. There's 250,000 people here, which is a shocking statistic whenever I tell people.
I live in a village that has 4 streets.
I live in a town with 200 people.
I
See,
think
the problem is where I came from was a very small city that felt bigger because it was claustrophobic. And now I live in a city with a shitload of people and I see the same 12 motherfuckers on a daily basis.
when I was still living at my parents', I would describe where because I would whenever we'd hang out, I'd like go pick up Jay and we'd go wherever. I would describe Jay as like this tiny little village. The village I'm living in now is smaller than Jay's town,
Yes, and you
which is
also lived in a rich
impressive.
development.
I did, but like where I'm currently living, there's like 3 intersections and 2 of them are like driveways.
Yes.
Ben, I'm gonna move to your village. We're gonna talk after the podcast. I'm gonna move to your village. That's my ideal
So-
place. Are you kidding me?
In desperation, I started looking through my notes, and I scrolled down to the special features.
God, that's a
The
blast
things
from
that
the
I did
past.
not use. And I found a note that I don't know what it means, and it made me almost laugh very loudly when I read it. So I'd like to share it with you with no context or memory what this means. In the documentary, there's a bit where a group of 501st members go into a laser tag game, and a bunch of kids in their suits, they go into the laser tag game. And they get absolutely ganked by the kids. They get, that's the full note. These stormtroopers, 501st members in stormtrooper suits go into laser tag and they get destroyed by a bunch of children, and that's very, very funny to me.
I feel like I had more stuff about Star Wars to bitch about, but it's just so lost to the depths of my memory.
I got something. Can we talk about how bad of a bounty hunter Boba Fett is?
Yeah,
Yes. Anytime. In A New Hope?
Yeah,
Though?
isn't it all but confirmed that he's the one that kills Owen and Brew?
all right, it's like a fan
It's-
theory, but that's about it.
It's like a fan theory, yeah.
I mean, come on, the whole no disintegrations thing, and then
That's why it's a fan theory,
Yeah, like I thought it was pretty much confirmed.
No, it's not confirmed in canon at all. It's assumed it was stormtroopers, but fans think it might have been Boba Fett. I would think not.
I think it was Boba Fett. That's if I'm gonna subscribe to one Star Wars conspiracy theory, it's that Boba Fett killed him. And in that case, he's a horrible bounty hunter. So he kills them, and then they didn't think to check the next biggest city.
He's just hanging out there, really. Like, he's just hanging out with Jabba. Like, he's not really doing much.
Let's hope so. So, like, I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good, yeah, like, did he killed Baru and Uncle Owen, and it was just like, I don't know, I lost the kid. I'm gonna go hang out with Jabba. Like,
I have a fan theory that zombies exist in the Star Wars universe that aren't Rackles, and Greedo is one, considering he's dead and he's in the next scene.
Well,
Two of
yeah,
him
didn't
are
they
in the
do
next scene.
Two of him are in the
didn't they
next scene.
do a Star Wars zombie book?
Yeah, there is.
That was the Rackles thing, yeah.
No, Rackles
It was one of the mini Rackles things.
No, Rackles was KOTOR.
Well, KOTOR and a bunch of the comics, and I believe they used the Rackles for the zombie.
Not for
comic,
Death Troopers.
or the zombie book.
Death Troopers was
Oh,
like
man,
a virus thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? No, fuck it. I want to talk about this. Can we talk about one of the dumbest storylines that ever hit Star Wars, which was the multi-comic media event that was the Rakghoul infection across, like, it was in Legacy of the Force, so it was in the Darth Krayt period, it was in the Darth Vader period one, it was in the KOTOR one, and there was some kind of weird idol that made it, like, cross-generational, where they could all not necessarily interact, but share what was going on.
I have no recollection of this.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're talking about.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, so the Death Troopers book, it was like the Empire was researching some kind of biological weapon they could use, and it broke containment and turned everyone onto a Star Destroyer into zombies.
I just assumed it was the in-canon zombies.
Well, it was canon at one point, but that's if my memory serves.
Has been a while since I opened the Darth Krayt Wikipedia page, but I think it's the easiest thing that I could do to find this. The Myrrh Talisman, I believe, is what I'm looking for here.
Ooh.
I thought it was an idol, but yeah, that's it. That's it. The Myrrh Talisman. So the Myrrh Talisman thing was one of the strangest events I've ever experienced, and it all revolved around the Rat-Ghouls. Yeah, so it was a comic event where they tried to combine 3 different generations of comics by using this Mer talisman. So, like, there was this ancient, I think, Sith alchemist, Sorsa Sin. Okay. For Carnus Mer. It enabled him to create Rat-Ghouls. And that's how Rat-Ghouls were invented. And so what they essentially did was they had Zane Carrick's Kotar comics, which Zane Carrick was like a comic line where they followed the Mandalorian era Kotar. It was like a lead up and involving the Mandalorian War. So occasionally you'd see Carthanasi and Revan and things like that. But it was mostly about this character, Zane Carrick, and his being framed for murder by a literal member of one of the Jedi Councils. So they dealt with that, and then it was rediscovered. Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker had to essentially work together to defeat them, and then Cade Skywalker ended up with the damn thing and basically ended up turning evil for a period of time. It's about as dumb as it sounds. It was the most ham-fisted way to try to copy what comics usually do.
Just connect everything.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, everyone important ever interacted with this thing at some point, yes. I swear.
Yes. It was a 2008 event that lasted most of the year. The 2008 comic sphere was good and bad all at the same time, because I stand by those Kotar comics being really good. Those Legacy of the Sith ones don't stand up very well, I will say. They're kind of silly and stupid.
Wikipedia.
Counterpoint. All of Star Wars is silly and stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Wikipedia hurts my brain.
Why? What's up?
Because, like, anytime I'm on this goddamn website, I look at the popular pages, and usually it makes sense. But right now it's Gunji, the fucking Wookiee from the Clone Wars, the one Clone Wars episode, the Shadow Guard, Rio Chuchi, who is also a Clone Wars, like a background Clone Wars character, pretty much.
I don't know.
I'm just
how to
navigate.
I don't even know how to navigate this website anymore to get to the main page. This is such a mess.
Just like this podcast.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, we're living in glass houses. We can't be throwing stones.
Hey, I'm out here throwing all the stones in my glass house, alright? That's all
We've
fucking
shattered.
do. Come at
We've
me.
had to shatter multiple glass houses at this point. The glass house is no more. It has shattered.
The glass house is half empty.
The glass house is half empty. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. A podcast that we did somehow. This was a thing that happened.
Woo! Let's go!
Ben, I know you don't watch wrestling or know anything, but why do you keep doing the Mick Foley thing?
I just do finger guns.
To be fair, Mick Foley's thing is finger guns.
But
it's a very specific sprayed up shake thing.
That's a lot of people do that.
We love you all. Especially Mick Foley.
Especially Mick Foley.
But not that bastard dude love. Good night.
Really, you really got me here pulling up the fucking Wikipedia article on finger guns.
What? Why does Wikipedia have an article on finger guns?
Why are you surprised?
I don't know.
Politics. Brazil.
Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.